Okay, I'm just going to try something here before I get started here. This is this fishing rig. This is my mini survival kit. I recommend you always have a hand, some sort of a hand protection, because if when you're not used to these, you throw them. I've done it where I've let both hands go and this thing goes and you lose everything. But this is right off. This is a production. This is right out of the box, and I cut out the one because I like a little more room here. But it's a very effective, efficient system because you're lying on some of the smaller people wind them up on smaller things. You get much too tight of a wind, and it tends to create a spiral in the water. But this stays a good size, and there's no problem winding it. Once you get to the beginning, you tend to look at your line, but you don't have to. After a while, it becomes just an automatic thing. And of course, if you miss, you just grab it and you just start over. But you can wind very quickly. And what I do is I just take the end, and I usually use a lead-headed jig, so I have a little weight to it to begin with. But you can use you can do this with just a worm on a hook, and it's more than enough weight. Okay, and you just what I do is I just keep a little tension. I keep my thumb here just a little bit, and you can do one of two things. You can spin it and cast it, or you can just throw it in any way you want, and this thing will go just as far as my pole. So it's a very good system, and yeah, you just wind it up as fast as can be. Okay, I'll show you that in a minute here. Let's go down to the lake here. Actually, I'll show you this now here. Put my hat cam on, and away we go here. Okay, I'm sorry for the sun, but I can't complain. Okay, coming down to the lake. Alright, I'm just going to try this since I have it set up here. And again, I'm just going to spin it with my hand, and away it goes. Oh, there's a little kink there. There was some work on that a little bit. Just reel it in. These particular setups are good, but again, I've used spinners and I've lures, but these are best used with a worm and a weight, and you cast them out, and then you don't have to reel them in as often because it's more of a letting the fish come to you. Let's see how far you can get a nice cast on there. Line nice and straight, there's no kinks, anything, it goes right out. And you can start out with a 100 yard or more, it doesn't matter how much is on the road. I recommend each season you take off the first 25 feet or so and throw it out, because it will monofilament does deteriorate with time, and especially if it's got exposed to any kind of light. Okay, this particular jig I have is a white jig. It isn't always the best here in this. And the more weight you have on it, the further, of course, you can cast it. Okay. Okay. Put this down here. And you just put it on I use a rubber band. I hook it on here and then around after. Set that there and get my rod here. Now, when you're using these collapsible rods, is one of the most important pieces of advice I can give you, especially if you give one of these to a kid, is when you open it, you don't flip it open like a Star Wars lightsaber, because if you flick it with your hand, you'll never get it closed again. All you do is you just loosen the drag here a little bit, unhook it, and you put the hook on the facing in, and wait, I'll show you after. You just start with the top. You pull the top section straight out. Let me see here. And and just till it's just snugs up a little bit, and you pull the next section out. And just adjust it a little bit there, and a little bit there. And again, you just do it with your drag. You don't open the bail because it keeps a lot everything in order. Now you can just tighten up your drag a little bit, and away you go. Again, with a rod I can get more precision casts, so I can and I can do a lot more with the action of the lure, with the wiggle in the tip and whatnot. Helps a little bit sometimes. Let's see. Over there a little bit. See what's on that little corner. The only thing about perch is that they move around in schools, and sometimes this spot here you can catch one after another, another time nothing. They move around the lake in their hunting forays. Oop. More weed, I think, yeah. Jigs are very good for any kind of weedy bottoms and any kind of lake, because the hook is oriented upward, so you don't you can go actually bounce it through the weeds, and you don't normally, unless you I got a weed, but that's I went through the middle of it, but normally you don't get weeds. These little rascals here. Again, I'm just fishing for fun here. I'm not going to plan on keeping it, but if I was in a survival situation, I would try this with a lure first, and if I don't get any bites in the beginning, then I'll go right over to worms or natural baits. You're guaranteed with that. And again, if I was in a situation where I had to have some food for the plate, then I would set out several lines and leave them out, and then with one active line I would actively fish, but the other lines would be out with a worm or whatnot with a sinker on the bottom. Surprised I didn't catch anything. I was here the other day, and it was I caught like 5 boom 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 up, landed right on the thing. Now let's see if there's anything here. I see a fish following it. Sometimes you just got it up. There's one. There's a little up. You had it. Up. There it goes. Up. Up. Okay, that was a small perch following it, taking it. Just saw out of the corner of my eye, and it's another reason I know there's trout in here, because the perch don't come to the surface and jump, and I see trout jumping all over the place here, coming to the surface, so you can see their rings. Sometimes they come right out of the water here. There's a patch of weeds right there. Okay, one cast in this direction, and we'll okay. surprised here. And sitting up there, and we like that, up and down. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Sorry I don't have any fish to show you on this particular episode, but I promise you I will show you some fish. Go down to the other end. There's a little perch chasing it here. If I had some worms, I wouldn't have a problem at all here. Early spring is the best for using artificials because they're so hungry they'll eat anything, but as the temperatures warm up and the fish get a little more selective on what they eat. Sometimes you gotta try different retrieves. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up here. What I do is I just collapse. Sometimes you get a little click is good enough. A little click. Bring it up. You should know it. There you go. Loosen the drag. Bring it down. And I hook it facing inward. And then I just tighten the drag a little bit and then just bring it up to par here, and away you go. Then it sits in your pack and you don't have to wear any hooks hooking into the whatnot. And most rods have these little, like you turn this and this will fold in, so if you want it even more compact. But this is the way to go. But it's good to have backup systems also here. And what I do here, just to keep it all tidy in my pack, is I take this around and I hook the smaller of the two rubber bands that are hooked together here, like that, and I go around with the hook facing in until it's taut, and then I hold my thumb and then I just put this, that, around, and then I just bring this rubber band. Actually start this way and go around. And it's nice and compact, it's not going anywhere, fits nice, and I keep it in a Ziploc bag because it rides nice in my pack that way. And again, I can keep several whatnots together, and in my pack it goes. Okay, and this came with the rod, so I'm going to use it as just a little protector here. Put that on there. Okay. Go home and I'll upload this and see how it comes out. And I thank you, and you'll see me in my next video very soon. Okay, thank you for coming along on this not so productive fishing trip, but I did say fishing, I didn't say catching, so okay, I'm technically not in the wrong. Maybe next time I'll take you catching if I get some worms, whatnot. Okay, should we go home, Ben? Wanna go home? Yeah. Go down for a quick swim. Okay. Bye.